Sports Talk Nation. Welcome back once again. This is your host, the G-Man, as we continue with our 2016 team-by-team preview of the NFL. Today we're going to talk about the Atlanta Falcons. While I would love to find a tentpole to hang on the Atlanta Falcons, I can't find anything that makes me think they're going to be any different than they were last year, 8-8. I think they'll be more consistent than they were last year. I don't think they're going to, have that amazing start and then fall off the cliff. But there's nothing that I look at and say, here's where there's dramatic improvement, or here's where they're much different than anybody else. They have a decent quarterback in Matt Ryan. He's not a great quarterback. He got paid like a franchise quarterback, and you can win with him. I think if you de-accentuate his negatives, doesn't have the strongest arm, and he's had great receivers his whole career, so he's fine. He's a little bit above average, right? He's chocolate pudding for dessert. You're never going to complain about chocolate pudding, but it's not chocolate souffle. Devontae Freeman came out of nowhere with the threat of Tevin Coleman in the backfield to put up a massive, massive year. I don't think he's as good as that, but I think he's pretty good, and I think him and Coleman make a fine 1-2 punch at running back. Wide receiver, Julio Jones is one of the best in the league. He's massive. He's fast. He's always struggled to get in the end zone, which surprised me. Last year he did a little bit more, but he is one of the best in the league. Mohamed Sanu, I'd probably put him on par with what Roddy White was towards the end of his career, not what Roddy White was in the middle of his career. He's okay. You'll notice that I've been saying that a lot about the Falcons. I think they're okay. And this is the offense which kind of carried them last year. They have their third receiver, I guess, would be Justin Hardy. He's below average. They haven't had tight end production since Tony Gonzalez retired. Closest thing they'll have to that is maybe Austin Hooper coming in this year. They improved their offensive line a little bit, which they're another team that always seems to struggle keeping their offensive line above average. They've drafted a lot of talent to it recently. Maybe some of those guys will stay healthy, and they signed Alex Mack, so maybe they'll improve a little bit on the offensive line, but it's nothing that's going to blow you away. Defensively, again, they started out last year like gangbusters. They were blowing people away, turning the ball over, getting after the quarterback. It was unbelievable. And then it stopped. I guess other teams picked up on the defensive scheme they were running. They figured they would know how to block. Once they blocked it, their defensive backfield couldn't do it, and they just fell off the table. This year, they did draft Keanu Neal, who's a well-thought-of safety. They signed Deion Jones, an inside linebacker, which is going to help them in that second level, which they desperately needed. The only real defection they had was Paul Soliai at defensive tackle. And losing Paul Soliai is not going to turn you into a losing team. I think at the end of the day, they don't have enough pass rush. That lack of pass rush puts a little too much pressure on the defensive backs to hold their man a little too long, and because of that, they're going to struggle. They're going to give up some points. I think they'll be involved in quite a few high-scoring matchups, but as I said at the beginning, even though I actually do like their coach, and I think he knows what he's doing and will turn that defensive around, I just don't think they have the talent to do it yet, so I'm expecting another 8-8 type season, and with the Panthers in their division, the playoffs are an outside possibility at best. And with your 2016 team-by-team preview of the Atlanta Falcons, as always, I'm your host, the G-Man, and I am out.